This is a quick review on this Triumph Street Triple R. I'm not sure the year of this bike. I think it's a 2012. What's it like? Well, I've read a lot of reviews. I always thought this bike was the greatest. It's not mine. I always wanted to ride this thing, so I got a chance to put a drop link on it for a rider who's a little shorter, which makes sense because this bike, I'm 6 foot tall, and when you sit at a light, my feet touch the ground, but not by a lot. So I think a drop link's going to help it a lot. My previous bike was a 96 Suzuki Katana 600. This thing is a lot nicer. I don't know if it's massively faster, but it's way, way nicer. You can read a lot of reviews. How does this compare to other motorcycles? I'm going to tell you what it's like to compare it against older bikes. This thing is incredibly nice to ride. It's so easy. It's not crazy. Anyone could ride this thing. It rides like, I rode this 150cc Yamaha, a new one, like a street bike in Bali. It's just like that. You can ride this thing like a scooter. It is so easy to ride. The brakes are massively powerful, yet they take just a little whisper to pull it. The clutch is super light. The gearbox is really precise and easy. This thing drives around. Look at this giant red line on this thing. It's 13 grand. I was driving around at 2,000 RPM, 3,000. It's happy as a clam, pulls perfectly. The EFI is super smooth. It's just so easy to ride. You could commute every day on this thing. It looks crazy, yet it's so docile. Their 3-cylinder engine, it sounds just like you'd expect. Somewhere in between a 4-cylinder and a 2-cylinder. It sounds amazing. When this bike is running, it is super quiet with its stock exhaust. Yet when you open it up, it makes amazing, awesome street triple noises. But you're driving around, civilized, nobody notices you. Thing looks awesome. When you're sitting on it, this naked bike is really interesting. It's got these crazy googly eyes. I don't know about the googly eyes, but when you sit on the bike, you don't even see the googly eyes. You just see the instrument cluster. So that's the whole point, is that the googly eyes are obscured. And when you ride this, compared to like a bike with a full fairing, it's like there's nothing in front of you, which adds to the fun factor. It seems like it's super upright to ride, but it's actually leaned over a little bit. The sitting position on it, the way this tank is, I found that my tender bits were sort of smooshing into that a little bit. That area is not for tender bits. Seat's a little hard, and you're sloped forward on it, so your tender bits are like whackity whack. Street Triple R, this just has, the suspension hasn't been adjusted at all, so it's pretty firm. But the R comes with adjustable suspension. It's got rebound compression clickers. I think I would definitely soften it up for the street. It's just incredibly easy. You open it up, the thing is really fast. First gear is kind of tall, so you have to slip the clutch a bit to get away, but that's no problem because the clutch is incredibly easy to use. Everything on this bike is super easy. You could buy this as a beginner bike, no problem. No problem. And then you can just work your way up into the RPM. Going 6,000, 7,000 RPM on this thing feels fast. And then when you crank it up, really fast. I don't know what 1,000cc bikes are like. I'm sure it's insane. But this thing, oh my God, the brakes are so powerful. It has these giant brakes, 2 4-piston calipers on the front. They're so powerful. But yet, you can modulate it with one finger. I think anyone who's like an adult, you could buy this as your first bike, no problem. Why buy a 250 or 125 when you can get a bike that acts like a 250 or 125? It's just as light, yet when you want to work your way up in the RPM range, you can. I've always dreamt of riding this thing. I thought it would be awesome. It's awesome, but it's incredibly easy to ride and civilized. That's my takeaway from it. It looks super awesome too, right? You don't have to be afraid, and the power is so linear on the motor, and it has good torque, yet pulls right to the top. It's really light, so the handling it's very easy to ride. Again, the lightness makes it easy. When you're trying to put it on the kickstand, you know, you don't have a ton of weight. I think that's a real advantage. Like the 125s and the 250s, they have that lightness to them that make it just an easier bike. If you're a smaller person, you know, you're a smaller female or something, this bike, this is the way. With this lowering link on it, it's lowered it a fair bit, and my legs are touch the ground much easier, so I think its 5'4" owner will really like it. And it looks awesome. This bike's 11 grand Canadian, you know, it's a little expensive, but considering how easy it is to ride. And then you can just move into the power. I think it's got 108 horsepower or something. Feels plenty fast. But mostly it's incredibly civilized, and it's super nicely built. When I was taking it apart, it's beautiful. Everything is beautiful on this motorcycle. The frame has this sparkly composite graphite in it. Every little bolt is perfect and beautiful, and they're really nice quality stuff. Everything is really awesome. It doesn't feel like assembly line. It feels like this incredible sort of almost handmade quality to it. It's just, everything is beautiful. The welds are all, you can't even see anything. It's just so nice. The Triumph builds a really quality bike. Anyways, also these mirrors are great. This thing is just so nice. That's what I take away from it. Now, guys who review new motorcycles all the time, it might be hard for them to, you know, compare it to older stuff. Like, all I've driven is some older stuff. But this thing's amazing. Anyways, so ends my regular person review of this bike. I'm going to get one more ride in it before it goes back to its owner. I just love it so much. You don't want to ride it too much, though, because then you're mortgaging the house and forsaking babies so you can have one. Anywho, hope you enjoyed this review.